So maybe you're thinking about moving to San Diego and you want the inside scoop on what it's actually like from someone who actually lives here, especially if you've never lived here before. Well, that's what we're going to be covering today. My name's Gio Ruiz. I lead the Gio Ruiz Home Team here in San Diego, and we help people find homes here each and every day. So let's start off with the fun one, endless activities. When living in San Diego, there is so much to do. There's Safari Park, Legoland, and the world famous San Diego Zoo, to name a few things. There's also hiking and beaches and museums and parks. Each area of San Diego has that in common. No matter where you land in San Diego, whether it's North County or South County or East County or maybe even coastal, these things exist in all of San Diego. So you'll probably have a park nearby you that has a great playground if you have kids, or a large obstacle course if you want to be running around. A lot of the parks now have outdoor workout equipment, so you can even work out there. San Diego naturally has really great weather pretty much year round, but locals will know and tell you that the best weather is usually from August to November, because that's when everybody goes back home and we still have a lot of really great sunshine. It does tend to get a little colder in December and January, but that doesn't mean that you can't do outdoor activities still. We don't have a ton of rainfall days, but you still do get a few. We also have our hot days. If you're not used to heat, San Diego could be a surprise. We have a few days a year where we reach over 100 degrees. And this is where it really matters where you live. Inland areas like North County Inland, Escondido, Santee, La Mesa, these areas will have days that get over 100 degrees. Now, coastal San Diego like Del Mar, Carlsbad, Cardiff, and La Jolla, these areas tend to be a little cooler because they're right by the ocean and they have that nice coastal breeze. They will have harder days too, but coastal breeze will cool you down a little bit. If you're not from San Diego, the housing here might be a little bit different, just the way they're built. Most homes here don't have basements. I haven't seen too many basements. We'll have crawl spaces in some areas, but just basements as a whole aren't a thing here. Homes are built for sunny weather, and we have something called the California living room, which is going to be an outdoor living space with one of the walls just completely missing and open to the outdoors. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have those days that get really hot, so air conditioning is something that's really important. If you're looking for a home in any part of San Diego County, I would highly recommend making sure the place you're looking at has air conditioning. I asked around on Instagram, and something that everybody kind of mentioned that was a little bit different or a shock when they weren't from here and moved here was Melrose. When a new community is built here in California, we take on the costs of the new community and divide it through taxes amongst the new property owners. All the new roads, the new schools, the new employment of police and fire department people that need to help that area, that all goes into a Melrose cost, and it's divided over the course of 25 to 30 years. If you're not from here, that might be a new cost that you have to take on if buying a new built home or a home in a recently built community. Let's get on to something that isn't necessarily fun, but it's a very real thing here in San Diego, and that's going to be natural disasters, mainly fires. You may have heard recently that a lot of insurance companies have backed out or left California because of the risk of fires, and San Diego isn't immune to that. We've had insurance people leave, and companies no longer provide policies here in San Diego. And it's a very real disaster that we face here due to many years of drought and dry areas. So if your home is in a fire zone, you may have to pay more for fire insurance. And I don't want to scare you, wildfires don't happen every day, not even every week, and not even every year. But when they do happen, they're very serious. And that's why home insurance can be a little bit challenging, especially in fire areas. Now, one that's not quite as serious is going to be termites. Termites are very common here in San Diego, and as an inspector friend of mine once said, it's not if, it's when. With proper maintenance and treatment, you can still get termites. They're just in a lot of areas here, and that's why I always recommend getting a termite inspection when buying a home, thoroughly investigating it, and seeing how bad the damage is. There is ways to prevent it. You can have preventative maintenance and tent the home, but it's a very real thing here when you're looking for a home. And lastly, something that's not very common, but it's something that we still have to be aware of, and it's earthquakes. All of Southern California is on a fault, and so because of that, we have to be aware that earthquakes are a very real possibility and could happen. On another note, something that you may not know if you're not from San Diego is that San Diego has a very large military presence. The Marines, Coast Guard, and Navy all have bases here, so you will see families coming and going from these sectors of military housing. Now let's get on to probably my favorite thing about San Diego, and that's going to be the food. San Diego is an eclectic collection of all sorts of great food, but nothing stands out more than San Diego's Mexican food. Our large Mexican population has allowed us to have a very diverse, dynamic, and delicious Mexican cuisine. Local staples will include a California burrito. If you haven't had one from San Diego, then you haven't had one at all, because California burritos done in San Diego are the best. LA doesn't even come close. And San Diegans take Taco Tuesday seriously. Where is my team carnitas at? Carnitas tacos are absolutely delicious and my personal favorite. Let's talk about the job market, which is very diverse here in San Diego. San Diego has a large population and a diverse population, and the job market is no different. It's constantly growing and very dynamic. There's biotech, military, tourism, hospitality, sports, and training. Biotech especially has gone through somewhat of a boom lately and grown. Sereno Valley is home to a lot of biotech companies, and recently Apple, yes, Apple like your iPhone, has announced that they'll be building a headquarters here and having about 5,000 employees moving to San Diego, which is a really great segue into the next segment. Traffic. Traffic in San Diego does exist and it's very real, but the good thing is it's predictable and you can kind of work around it. If you're not from here, that could be a shock because maybe you're from somewhere that they don't have a lot of traffic, and in San Diego, we absolutely do. Most of San Diego is easily accessible, and it usually takes about 20 to 25 minutes without traffic to really reach any part of San Diego. If you're in North County and driving to Santee or El Cajon, maybe you're looking at closer to 45 minutes to an hour, and if there's traffic, it could be up to an hour and a half. But the good news is it can be avoidable if you avoid rush hour times, which you will learn after living here for a little while. Let's get into some other local lingo that you might need to know if you're not from San Diego and moving here. Now, this list isn't exhaustive. This is just kind of the top 5 of when I asked a few people, this is what they told me. And number 1 being La Jolla. A lot of people, when you're not from here, you might not know that the 2 L's make the y sound in Spanish. So when you're saying La Jolla, it's La Jolla, not La Jolla. That will be a dead giveaway that you're not from here. If you're not from San Diego or California, we refer to our freeways as the. So when you're talking about Highway 5, Interstate 15, it's just the 15, the 5, the 78, the 56. And if that wasn't confusing enough, some of our neighborhoods get a little tricky when mailing to them. For instance, Rancho Bernardo, if you're sending a letter, isn't Rancho Bernardo, it's San Diego. And if you're not from here, just don't talk about the Chargers. Everyone's still a little bit sore about them leaving. That might be a me thing, but let's just play it safe and say it's all of San Diego. This list was mostly comprised after asking people who lived here for a while what they thought and what was surprising to them when they moved here. Did I get everything, or maybe I missed something? If you're from San Diego and you've lived here a while, comment below what you think people need to know if they're moving to San Diego. And if you aren't from San Diego, what did I miss that you would like to learn about?